Greetings, and welcome to That Works, a DreamWorks podcast starring a disgruntled ex-journalist now writing Scott Pilgrim fan fiction, a spineless, asthmatic 26-year-old curmudgeon sweeping movie theaters for a living, and a happily unemployed photographer barely getting by with DoorDash. Who punched me in the face?
You were in my way!
You're always in the way.
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 No, you.
Welcome back. This is a podcast series in which we cover the DreamWorks catalog and all of its beauty. Just be warned, there's going to be spoilers for this movie, which this week it's Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
So just be warned, spoilers. I know it's, a 13-year-old movie at this point, but we want you to experience all the magic.
This was 2008. Holy cow.
Yes. So, without further ado, here is Kung Fu Panda.
Take it away.
Always being reminded that he's a fat goof, Poe dreams of being a kung fu master. Good news for the big guy, since he's unwittingly picked as the destined dragon warrior, the one who will bring peace to the valley. But becoming such a legendary figure comes with a cost. The other masters... You gotta stop this. The other masters do not take kindly to having years of training go to waste, especially Master Shifu, the greatest kung fu teacher in all of China. But as the Jade Palace masters slowly start to warm to the fuzzy guy, the villainous Tai Lung escapes from prison and is on his way to confront Shifu, there we go, and take the dragon scroll. It's up to Poe to stop him using his own unique martial arts skills.
Nice.
So again, June 6th, 2008. Funny enough, that's today that we're filming.
Holy cow.
Dun, dun, dun.
This was 13 years ago to the day. We did that on purpose. That was planned.
Oh, yes, totally.
100% planned.
Very, very popular. Over 600 million. Nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. And let's see, I think it would have lost to WALL-E. It was WALL-E, Bolt, and Kung Fu Panda were the three. They only had three that year. I think you're wrong. Fact check that, but
no,
that's a good pick over it. But I would have been fine with this winning. First in its franchise, I believe there's 2 TV shows, 3 movies, 2 TV shows so far, with more movies on the way. Yeah. So everyone, I've not met anyone who dislikes this. I find it very hard to dislike. I feel like just about everyone who's seen it at least likes it at a basic level. Mm-hmm. I love this trilogy, so far trilogy. I know they said they want 6 movies altogether. Whew. Don't know where they go from this.
6 movies in a season? Wow, that was
No, Dickey.
Wow. All right, I was going to redact that one.
My other eye hurts now.
Sorry. Anyway.
So yeah, who wants to start?
I will actually start because... this is kind of where I feel similar to you when you were like in your early years when you were saying like you weren't going into them fans because you're a teenager. I was 13 years old when this came out, and I thought that I know
your life ago.
How old were you?
22.
Thank you.
This was right
I could drink.
In
fact,
birthday.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that my roommates and I made this into a drinking game.
Oh, I'm sure there's a drinking game.
I think it was like something like every time there's a fat joke.
Is it like every skadoosh you take a shot?
No, because there's only like 2 or 3.
1 for sure.
I'm pretty sure it was like every fat joke.
Skadooshes. He doesn't have that many skadooshes?
I think he does 1 each movie. I could
only
be wrong.
1?
I think it's always in the 3rd act. It's like always during the final confrontation.
Interesting.
It's because everybody else can do the move, but they don't say they just don't skadoosh.
Say the skadoosh.
Yep.
Sometimes we're going to say skadoosh. Anyway.
Skadoosh.
Skadoosh. So
glub,
I was going into this and I'm like, this is a kid's movie. This is a dream. It didn't look interesting to me whatsoever. I'm pretty sure I was just dragged into it because I was babysitting my cousin. And we're like, all right, we're going to go take them to see whatever's at the movies today. And I walked in, I'm like, you know what? That was good. I really, really liked it. I did not expect to. And Now, oddly enough, I still really like this one, but I actually think 2 and 3 are like when I think of Kung Fu Panda now, if I think of it today, I probably think more of the second movie than the first one, which is
because it's better.
Fair enough.
We'll get to that later.
We will get to that later. But I will say, I do think. But either way, this movie was good, and I really, really enjoyed it. That's where I will stay at. Yeah.
I remember my one of my friends was probably watching this, saw it in theaters and said, "This is word for word. Yeah, it's pretty wicked. It's pretty awesome." And I remember thinking like, "Wicked?
It's a panda.
Wicked? No, like not the movie, just the fact that they said wicked." I go, wicked.
Wait, is not a witch?
No, yeah, that's not the point. Not the show. Not the Broadway show. Using wicked is like it's wicked. It's wicked awesome. I'm thinking like I've heard the word wicked. I've never used it in that way, but whatever. I'm behind the times.
Wicked awesome, bro.
But I didn't see it in theater. I saw it at home. Probably I think we still have that DVD copy. And I watched it and it's like, this is great. This is fun.
It is fun.
I understand some people have a problem with the fat jokes and how much they pick on him, but I do think there's an anti-bullying message in the movie.
Oh, there's
way to steal my thunder.
Definitely.
That's not exactly. Segue. That is not exactly what I was going to say about it. I would say that I don't really remember the first couple of times I watched this, clearly because of the previous story. I'm pretty sure I lost. If you lose a drinking game.
If you lose it, win, lose, however you want to look at it.
It's like when you're the back of the waterfall.
There you go.
Maybe the front.
The back.
The back.
You get stuck on the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. When this came out, it looked stupid to me.
I'm sensing a running gag. Where all these just look stupid.
Yeah, they do.
I know why.
I'm sorry, but they just do. And then I watch them, and then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's that. But with this time watching it, I liked it. I liked it fine. I think in light of the second movie and the third movie, I like it less after having watched those two, just because I feel like not because of the fat jokes, because they just make him seem like an idiot. Compared to the other two. And I understand character development.
Movie, yeah.
But he's just so
dumb.
Yeah.
It's more like what I said goof. He's much more of a goof. He's not an idiot. He's actually pretty smart. He's just very clumsy. He bumps into everything. I relate to this character.
That's fair.
I know you do, buddy. I know you do.
And I will say, I feel like having Jack Black, it can either go one or two ways. It's either going to be painful to sit through, or it's going to be really funny. I'm really glad that's the second one.
Kind of like the Will Smith thing with Shark Tale, whereas we got cringe Will Smith. Here we got great Jack Black. He was born to play this.
He was born to play this. Oh my God.
What DreamWorks movie, the DVD, did they have him doing the Ben Stiller thing?
Is this?
No.
Yeah.
It was advertising Kung Fu Panda.
Advertising Kung Fu Panda. I was going to say
they were doing the Ben Stiller thing.
I'm trying to remember. It might have been Shrek the Third.
Maybe. Anyway, you know how they had a commercial with Ben Stiller standing in front of the crate? Hey guys, Madagascar is great. Hey guys, Madagascar is great. There was another movie that they had Jack Black in like a ninja garb trying to do like flips and kicks and stuff.
Doing all that.
Yeah, and it was just
you can tell he loves this. He's just going 120%.
At Jack Black, if you're watching this, thank you so much for making our childhoods amazing. I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Bully for you.
Yes. All the way.
Other than that, watching it this time, I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's the thing I have to bring up is that the animation is a huge step up. Like you watch the preview, we talked about Shrek the Third's like bland, ugly look, and then also how B movie is like, yeah, this is technically the B team. I just say it because I mean it that way. They go for the more cartoony, simplistic Illumination look, which this is before Illumination had hit it big, of course, but this one. The landscapes and the textures and the lighting is so good.
It was
I'm starting to sound like you as I hype this, but this time especially, I've seen this probably 10 times. Coming off of those last two movies and into this, just a year difference, and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, you can see the jump. And you did touch on the landscapes. That's what makes me, I really like the fact that, like, obviously it was, like, set in China, and they really, like, made it feel just really encapsulating with the way they animated the backgrounds.
I think that's what I would say about this movie is of the first, what are we on, 16 now?
Yeah.
I think that this is the first one with a very defined and cemented like style.
Outside of the hand-drawn ones, because that's their own style.
Even like, that's not really what I mean, I don't think. It's just like this one had a goal in what it was doing style-wise.
I mean, like, I feel like a bunch of the earlier movies still had a goal. Like, if you're looking at, like, El Dorado or Prince of Egypt.
Shark Tale wanted to look like a garbage disposal. B-movie wanted to look.
It wanted to look.
B-movie wanted to look. Yeah,
it wanted to look like a dirty aquarium. Let's be honest here.
There you go.
It's the Finding Nemo tank before the new filter gets put in.
But like,
where Brad Garrett's pufferfish is just burping.
Yes.
I guess I just mean to say this did really well to emulate what I understand as kung fu movies.
That is fair. Yes. It did, like, the fighting.
I think that's what I was trying to say.
That's fair. Because, like, I will say, like, on top of that, like, I really liked the way they animated the fighting. Like, it was just creative. Obviously, like, using, like, all the different animals and, like, really,
the different style, because each animal has the same
style. That's exactly what it is.
Which I think is really cool.
I think it was really well thought of and really well done.
What I like about the series, too, is how whenever there's, like, dreams or flashbacks, it's the different style of animation that harkens back to, like, older styles.
Did they do that in the first one?
Yeah, I remember his dream at the beginning.
Yeah.
When he's fighting the hordes, and it's raining cats and dogs as he's walking on the dock. I love that style. Mm-hmm. That's when I watch this, and especially in the second movie, I see that and I go, I'd watch a whole movie of that. I'd watch a whole feature-length movie of that.
So I remember the second one, not to keep jumping to the second one, but like the dream sequences in that one, like it's just, that's just how you feel. I really just love using different styles of animation to emphasize points, or to emphasize ideas. It gets me going. I really like that.
And other outlets have said this about the movies. The star of the franchise is the kung fu, is the fighting. That is like the big deal here because they do it so well. Because fighting scenes, I feel like it's very easy to make them boring. No matter how well animated or how well choreographed you can make it, I feel like you can still make it boring because behind fighting are like the story and stakes and characters.
Oh, it's so hard to make a good fight scene. It really is. Like, I mean, I'm not going to like throw shit at any one movie in particular, but like you can tell when they don't bring into actual stakes or actual characters and they just show cool action, which there's nothing wrong. I love cool action. But when you can bring in emotional stakes to it, it just amplifies it that much more. It's like the last scene of like Return of the Jedi where Vader and Luke are fighting. Like it hits you home.
It's that panning shot when Vader says the thing about maybe you won't, but she will. Exactly. And it hits that chord with the choir. And I remember watching it in the theater and like you hear it coming from the back as it's panning over. And I was like, wow. It's still getting to me. It's my favorite Star Wars movie. It's still getting to me. And there's moments similar to that here. That bridge fight is great.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah.
Tai Lung is also a very good villain.
He is.
I feel, I know we keep talking about the other two, but he's good. Shen in the second one is the best. Mm-hmm. I think J.K. Simmons one in the third one. Oh, what is his name? I forgot his name already.
Oh, I forgot his name too.
I got it. Now, I know J.K. Go all the way to this. I can't.
Quick flip through. Quick see. Let's see.
What is his name?
Voice. Which shout out to J.K. Simmons for being an amazing voice actor.
Yeah. Shout out to J.K. Simmons for basically anything he's ever done.
Seriously. Oh my God, dude's a massive talent.
But I feel like his villain for how good the voice acting is in the third one just isn't the same as the first two. I feel like the personal connection isn't as strong as the first two.
That is true.
That second one.
The second... God.
We gotta stop.
This is so hard. It's so hard. I keep wanting to jump to
that's because... Spoilers for the third one. that villain is more connected to a character that died in the first, and we have not seen.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because he's connected to Oogway.
Yeah.
Oogway dies like halfway through the first one.
It's an event that happened in the past, similar to the Tai Lung thing, but it's less relatable. Whereas the Tai Lung thing is like Shifu raised him, and when Tai Lung didn't get what he thought he was building up to, that's what sparked the rage. Whereas the other one, it's just he betrayed me because I was going crazy.
Shifu is also an active character
in more of the movie.
Like Oogway.
What is it? 40 minutes in, he's gone?
Well, not only that, but even in the third one, like when he captures Oogway, and again, not to jump to the third one, but when he captures Oogway, he's already a spirit. Like there's not a whole lot of stake there in my mind.
No,
so like,
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
You're right. All that to say, you're right.
Yeah, but still, Tai Lung, I remember the first time seeing it, like, wow. That's, 14. It's not like I'm super diving into this kind of stuff. But I remember thinking, like, wow, that was a really good villain. Like, I actually felt for him at that start of, like, the villains can be sympathetic.
This was, because, this was 2008. Like, I feel at that point in time, we were just now starting to do sympathetic villains.
Well, what else came out in 2008?
I'm thinking of at least Iron Man. And
Breaking Bad. The start of that, like, anti-hero trope. Because Sopranos had already been on.
That. Yeah.
But like Mad Men had started, and I think this was the year Breaking Bad started. Like you start to see that shift towards the anti-hero TV stuff. So that's just when all of a sudden it's like, hey, we can make villains sympathetic. Let's start making them, put them in main roles. It's like what they're doing is bad, but you understand why. Mm-hmm. And now everyone does that, which is fine. But then you start to get tired of it. It's all in cycles because eventually we're just going to shift back into they're just bad, which I don't mind if it balances it.
As long as they can be either completely evil or sympathetically evil. As long as they're characterized well and you can tell their motivations, that's all that I really want. I just want to be able to say, like, I know why he's doing what he's doing. That's it. It's that simple for me. And that's I was not expecting that to be in here. And I just, again, color me impressed. I was not expecting to like this as much as I did. And rewatching it more and more, you just keep enjoying it. Like, honest to God. I'm trying to find something to criticize for it, and
there's not a whole lot.
There's not a lot.
It's just, it holds up really well.
I really like the way that they push the message at the end when they do get the scroll out of the dragon in the ceiling. And
it's all inside.
Yeah, it's a much, to me, it's a much, okay. I love Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Oh, yeah.
That whole last monologue where he's going, anyone can wear the mask. You can be the mask or something, whatever it is. It's clunky. And I feel like this is a better way to push that same message.
There is no secret ingredient.
It's you. Anybody can do this. It's not. It's almost kind of like you weren't picked because you are special. You're special. Everyone is special. Anyone could have been picked.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of just make the most of what you can.
And then when they first get the scroll and he's going, it's blank. What? It's blank. Here, look. No, it is forbidden. And he's doing that. He's just doing that. Like, Shifu is, as funny as Poe is, Shifu makes me laugh harder. He's so great. And I think that's... You go ahead.
I'll say, to compliment that, I think that's pairing him against Jack Black.
Yes.
Because, like, when you have someone being as outrageous and as absurd as Jack Black can be, the more, like, the deadpan can hit that much harder when you have him to bounce off of.
And not to keep talking about the other two movies, but I think a criticism of the other two is Shifu is not in it as much.
Yeah.
Like, that is true. The second one makes more sense. The third one, though, when you have Poe becoming...
When you were
in the teacher role and Shifu's not really there, I think that hurts that one. That's a different
conversation.
But I do like how this one, it's not just Poe's development into that. There's also the whole thing about Shifu's perspective change. Which I like. He's learning like, too. He's got to get over his own past.
He's a really good supporting character. Like, oh my God. Like, I would almost... Obviously, he's Poe's main character, obviously. But I would bounce back and forth and say that, like, some of the movie is really about him learning to change. Shifu learning.
And he's got some of the best, like, that we use that for training children and propping the door open when it's hot. Or when you try to do kung fu like the others, you stink.
You stink.
Panda, we do not wash our pits in the pool of sacred tears. And also at the end when he's like happy and finally at peace, he's like, Shifu, don't die. I'm not dying, you idiot.
I'm not dying.
Dragon warrior. Simply at peace. And they're laying there and they're just, you want to get something to eat? Yeah. I just love that.
I forgot about that until you were I'm not dying, you idiot. And that was such a good line.
Now, there's a level 0.
Now.
What is all the only souvenirs we have are is it like some broken teeth and bloody knuckles? Yeah, broken bones and bloody knuckles. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It balances the humor and the action so well because you'll go from the Shifu Tai Lung fight where Shifu's getting his butt kicked because it's a super emotional fight. And then once Po shows up, they can just balance that. And all of a sudden, it shifts to a more comedic tone because that's more of the Po style in this. Mm-hmm. He uses his own rotundness. When he really does, like, when he's poking him, he's like, stop, I'm going to pee. And that leads to one of my favorite Po reactions is where after he, does the whole gut thing in the air, and he lands, he's like, you can't defeat me. You're just a big, fat panda. And when he says fat, Po's eyes just go, sorry, I can only have one eye to show this, but it just kills me.
I'll put you again if I have to.
It just kills me every time. Bring up the chopsticks fight.
Oh my God.
I forgot. That's the best part of the movie. That is the best part.
How did I forget about that scene? That's such a cool scene.
Even so the actors are saying like that's my favorite.
Like it's creative, and what I think it's I could be entirely wrong for assuming this, but I'm assuming it's stripping off the Karate Kid, right?
I mean, he was just catching a fly. This is like they're hitting each other's chopsticks.
Well, I realized that, but they were
over
still
a dumpling.
It just comes from the chopsticks.
He eats them all except one. Shifu does, and so they're going after the last one. And one, if you play it slow when Po's about to eat it, and Shifu goes, if you pause it, Shifu's face is. It's like one frame. It's great.
Shout out to the animators that made that one frame. That's awesome.
And then there's a great reaction during that fight where Po's keeping him at bay and he hits it away, and Shifu has this like joyous smile on his face, like he's having a blast, like just goes, throws the chopsticks down and grabs the staff, like just so much fun. And then of course the whole thing with Po gets it and he's like, go ahead and eat it, and he gives it back. I'm not hungry.
Yep.
I go, I like that.
I love it. And kind of a little bit of a tangent note on that is I want to point out what I really like is the tone shifts that it's able to do and that it actually owns really well, because that's not easy to do, is to bounce from different tones. But you're kind of what we were saying earlier. It goes from really awesome, really serious karate fighting, and then it swings into something kung fu.
They're different.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm not well versed. I don't know why I just looked at you.
Probably because I can't look at both of you at the same time. I'm the crippled one. I don't know why you would think I could do kung fu.
I can do kung fu.
Context.
But anyway, that's all I was just wanting to say. I appreciate the fact that it can jump between really funny and really serious fighting, and it just the entire movie is fun. I still want to say that.
That is true.
I say that a lot about DreamWorks.
I will jump on your point about like the fat jokes, the dumb jokes, like. They do, as much as I defend, like, okay, it's an anti-bullying thing, because they do accept him, warts and all. Mm-hmm. They lean into it a lot because you got to make the kiddos laugh. I get it. And I think it's much more of a criticism of the third movie, because I feel like that one, they dumb him down from the end of the second one, because that second one is so great. Really, and then you start the third one and you're like, see, something's off.
The problem is that the last act of the third one is so good that I almost forget the entire preceding movie. And kind of circling back to why are we talking about the other two movies in the first movie, it's kind of one of those trilogies that it goes so well with itself. It really does blend together. It's kind of hard to talk about
without the other two.
I'd
say it's a compliment to the trilogy itself, because if you can't talk about one without the others, but can still single them out.
That's
floating. That's
really an impressive trilogy. Like I would really want to.
I'd rank it up there.
I would love to rank it up. I mean, I'm not
like top.
I'm not
all-time
saying
film history, but
but it's,
for how
it's,
cohesive it is, it's better than the sequel Star Wars trilogy.
Because
they had a plan.
Okay,
hey,
so
there it is.
Okay,
better than the sequels.
Rated PG.
Not the sequels, but
actually, yes, I think they're all PG.
Who is?
No, they were 13.
I'm talking about Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, anyway, Jake, go on. Because I don't know what I'm talking about, apparently.
I'm sorry, my brain just shut off at what Dickey said.
Sorry.
I was going to say, who is saying that the Star Wars sequel trilogy is a better trilogy than anything?
I mean, you have a point.
Oh, I'm waiting for him to start defending it, even though he just made a joke.
Don't you defend it. It is the most incohesive.
No. I'm not going to defend the trilogy in its whole. I'm not. But I will say 7 and 8 were really good in my opinion.
I'm not denying that. 7.
We're also not talking about Star Wars.
Why are we talking about this? This is a tangent. This is my fault. Let's move on.
I still want.
What else do you have to say?
I'm just gonna say. I'm trying to think of something. The problem is this gonna turn into 20 minutes of what happened to the sequel trilogy and why someone ruined them.
Kung Fu
Panda.
We're not getting into that. Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda.
Seth Rogen's in Kung Fu Panda.
Yes, he is.
Why?
So,
can someone explain that one to me? Why is Seth Rogen?
I don't know.
So I don't know. I don't know why.
It just seemed weird to me.
But as we were, I guess I do know why. But as we were watching through all the DreamWorks movies, my brain was like, "Isn't this like the 5th one that I've heard Seth Rogen in?"
It just seems like he probably isn't, but it just seems like he would fit in them.
Yeah, no, it's not. I think he's only in the 3 Kung Fu Pandas. He might have a voice in Shrek 3.
Oh, I feel like
boat
he probably
guy
would.
Yeah, which is like 2 scenes.
Yeah, and then Monsters vs. Aliens, right?
Oh, that's right.
Bob.
Yeah, that one that we all forget.
3 Kung Fu Panda, he keeps showing up.
Yeah.
Great.
Good for him, though. It
is good for him. I just did not expect him to be a mantis. That's just...
Yeah. Well, develop a relationship with the studio. Why not?
Honestly,
you were all so much bigger than your action figures. Except you, Mantis. You're about the same. And he just let his antenna twitches. That's the thing. The supporting cast is great. They did Jackie Chan dirty in the first couple weeks because he barely says anything.
Yeah, they really...
Jackie Chan.
I know. You gotta give Jackie Chan more
It might have been
love.
his choice, though.
Never. I don't know. But it's like you look down. You're looking down like this. It's like, wow.
Oh yeah.
These are all good. Like Tiger ends up being one of the best characters. Yeah. Also throughout she's good here, but I feel like the next 2.
I'm not gonna lie though. I think the crane is my favorite. I love it.
Yeah. I don't. No. Okay. I'm just gonna preface this by saying no offense to David Cross because I love you. You're hilarious, but you do give me crane vibes. I can't explain it. I don't know what in my head,
why
connects these 2 things.
Because he played a crane?
Why did you have to apologize for that first?
I don't know if it's bad to be a crane. I think cranes are cool. So if someone doesn't like cranes, then...
they're certainly majestic.
They're very majestic. And I think just his voice makes me feel like birds.
Is Crane in these movies a never nude? Because he almost always has the hat on.
That's true. Oh my god.
I don't know. I forget the immediate joke right now, but when Poe is his first night in the temple, when he goes into Crane's room, he's like,
"You don't belong here."
Yeah,
he's like,
you don't belong here.
No, he doesn't shut it. He goes, "I know." It's just you don't belong in here.
In here.
Property of Crane. I do like in that scene when Poe's sneaking across the boards, he smashes down in one. The next morning, when the bell rings and they all go, "Morning, Master." You can see the floorboard is still broken.
Oh my god, that's great.
I was like, hey, I like that.
That is awesome.
I also got to say, 2 characters that have some great moments are Oogway and Mr. Ping. That's Poe's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Just Oogway. I like there's, how does he say it? There's only news. There's no good news or bad news. Tai Lung's escaped from prison. That is bad news.
That is bad news. I do really like, and this is hard to, the second one, here we go again. But you feel so bad for Mr. Ping. Oh my god. He's just trying to be a good dad. He's just trying his best. I love him. He makes me
great.
I'm not gonna lie, his food looks delicious. I really wish that I could eat
That
those noodles.
movie does a really good job of making things look delicious.
Holy crap. If I could just dive into my TV screen and shove a mouthful of their noodles into my face, I would be happy.
To be fair, it is a movie about a panda that likes to eat a lot.
So,
several of the main
dumplings.
Those dumplings.
Even the cookies that he...
I was just thinking that too.
Like,
don't tell monkey. Look at you. Yeah, I know, I'm disgusting.
Yeah.
No. 10 feet off the ground and have done a perfect split. I do like the faces he's giving him when he hears all the chopping and he goes and he's just like... He's just looking around.
Yeah, I love it.
I will say, James Hong's delivery when Mr. Ping brings the card up, when Poe's going to launch himself in the firework chair, he's like, "What are you doing?" Kills me. And he's blowing the fuse up. It's like ducks, geese, whatever he is. Birds with beaks. Could they do that? All birds have beaks.
Sure they
can. Birds do that?
Come on, even I knew that one, Jared. All birds have beaks, but not all beaks have birds. Right?
What?
It's like one of those science things.
Let's move on before we start.
It's one of those science things. It's one of those science.
Like all things are this, but not all of this are things.
Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda.
Poe takes a beating. He falls from like 6 stories up with those fireworks and smashes. Unscathed.
It's like
it just
Vin
takes so
Diesel
much damage.
in Fast and Furious movies.
You mean split interstate, like 100 feet up, gets on the front of his car, the hood of the car, smashes it into the side, flies across, like catches Michelle Rodriguez, lands on a conveniently parked car on the other side, shoulder first. Yep, not a scratch.
Not a scratch. Same vibe.
Don't the cars fly in the trailer for the new one?
Oh,
F9 to be exact.
F9 was
okay.
I'm pretty sure they're probably going to space.
They're definitely.
This is, of course, before the movies come out, but I'm pretty
sure the movies. Isn't that out yet?
No.
But
I'm saying when we recorded this, it's not out. It's June 6th. Again, the day Kung Fu Panda came out 13 years ago.
13 years ago today, we're talking about it.
That's the other thing. The way the architecture is animated in this movie.
It is. Chef's kiss. Architecture's kiss, if you will.
It's just a good movie.
It is. Like I said, I'm generally trying to look for more things that I could criticize it, and
I mean, it's certainly not a perfect movie. Like, but
like I'm like specifically trying to pick out things that I don't like about it.
It's just so
nothing's.
I think personally, I think some of the pacing can be a little weird at times.
Yeah.
I think sometimes those tonal shifts that they do change the pacing and it feels weird. But they do it well. It's like like something happens and it dipped, but they pull it right back up.
Well, that's why I like those tonal shifts.
Yeah.
And I know that's obviously not going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
But for me, it did work.
It's kind of like what Marvel tries to do, but instead it's the opposite almost of it's a serious moment and they pull it back right away so it's not too serious. It drives me nuts.
That's like
it
really
feels very
serious for me.
Yeah, just they'll tell a joke right after a serious moment, sometimes in the same scene, and you're like, okay, it's like, where's the tone?
Don't get me wrong, it makes me laugh.
But
I'm not sure how to feel about it. I think it's an awkward laugh. Where these didn't feel like awkward laughs. These feel like all genuine laughs.
This one feels like the funny moment comes before the serious part. And then you're allowed to sit in the serious part for a little bit longer. And then the scene changes.
It's like a funny sandwich. Like you have 2 funny scenes in serious. Because like it's easy to chew through the funny scenes, but that middle it's hard to chew through.
Well, yeah, because it is primarily a funny movie.
Exactly.
It is primarily a kid's movie.
Exactly.
Which ends up, the funny thing, literally the funny thing, in the second movie is people criticize it, like actual reviewers are from like big outlets are saying it's not as funny as the first one, and I'm thinking
the second one,
and I'm like, but that's because it's
not trying to.
It's
be.
deeper. There's more depth. We go into the character. It's much more serious, and I think it works. But they're like That's like the big reason why it's not as good as the first. I go, what are you talking about?
It's kind
the whole
of hard,
trilogy.
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say it's kind of hard though, because like I feel like after watching the first, like erase everything from my mind that I know about these. If I just sit through 1, 2, and 3 right now, I'd be like, wow, the first one's it is more lighthearted, it's more funny. The second one's a little bit more serious, and I guess if it really is a personal opinion, obviously, but like if you're not expecting it to take a serious turn, you want it to stay lighthearted, that could feel off-putting. I personally like my sequels going a little bit deeper, a little bit darker, and that's me being a sucker for Empire Strikes Back too. I'm going to play Star Wars all I want.
Look at the nerd.
Nerd!
Oh, you're all nerds too!
Yeah.
Yeah, well. I mean, not to go off on a Star Wars tangent, but, you know, I tried to watch episode 1 the other day. I got bored before the pod racing. I was like, okay, no more.
It's just a meme now. It really, really is. Any scenes.
Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, yeah, Kung Fu Panda.
Rated PG.
Rated PG.
So.
Oh, here it comes.
Is this a hot take?
No, it's not a hot take.
Good.
Is it a cold take?
It's just a take.
Lukewarm. Okay.
Okay.
No.
But going off of what you said, I think that as we're talking about this and as I'm thinking about it, the movies kind of, this is going to sound obvious, they structure themselves kind of like Poe, where you have the first one that's like the surface level part of his personality. It's just funny and you get that out of the way. The second one is like
the deeper
scarred, like change.
It delves more
the change, serious part of him. Mm-hmm. And then you get down to really where his,
like what are his motivations?
Where his pain is and what he's really about in the third one. Now, unfortunately, in my opinion, the third one is the weakest in the chain, but I can see it kind of working like that if I were a writer writing it out.
That's why I think it works so well as a trilogy. I mean, let's just keep going back to the fact that this is one of the most impressive trilogies when you really look at it back to back to back, because it does what its trilogy is supposed to do. First one brings you in, introduces you to the world, and makes you like living in that world. The second one dives deeper, and like you said, the third one dives even deeper than that. That's just, to me, that is how you should make a trilogy.
And it stays consistent. They don't feel like 3 completely different things
out
of style. They each stand on their own with the same style and characters, but that also make it likable while also digging deeper.
Well, and also having kind of a unique style, because the opening style for 2 is not the same as the opening style for 1. It's very different. Like all of his
was like more of the cutout thing looking.
Yeah,
with Shen.
Wasn't the first one more of like a
it was the
sort of thing?
Yeah. That's what we were talking about, like that, and how like the flashback scene in his mind. Whenever it's in his mind, it tends to be that
more like hyper stylized.
Yeah, and a different animation style. That's the point I'm getting. And I like that. Some people I know have said like it's kind of weird. I go, nah, I think it's great.
It's like,
and they have the moment where.
I remember you and I were just like, why can't we get a whole movie just like this?
Oh, that would be wild.
I watch that. Watch that easily.
Even if it doesn't have to be like a whole movie, like if it, like I know isn't there a Kung Fu Panda like series on Netflix?
I think there's a couple of them.
Yeah, there's also shorts like that came with the movies. I think there might be a short that the whole one is that style.
Is there?
Secrets of the Furious 5? I've not seen it. I should have watched it, but
that would be cool, because like that's what like I really like that like really distinct style, and I would love to see a whole movie like you were saying. And I think like just like tossing it on Netflix or something like that would be a really easy way to get it out, and I think people would actually watch that. I think.
So
I mean, Home is trending right now. So.
Oh God.
Let's not discuss that. We're a long way away from that, and I need to prepare.
He's trying to put it off for a bit.
Yeah.
For as long as he can.
Please zoom in on this face. There.
Do you know I'm not going to cut out you saying, please zoom in on this face?
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Well, there's only half the face showing, though. You can't really.
I'll zoom in on this eye.
Under. Is that a wink or a blink?
We don't know. It's under.
Those of you audio listeners, Dickey punched me in the face. I know I screamed it at the start, but yeah, he punched me in the face.
It was a good one.
He's wearing an eye patch.
Yeah.
Shall we describe what the eye patch is made out of?
So I was looking for an eye patch today to bring in to record, and
because you expected to punch me in the face.
Exactly. I knew it was going to happen.
It was pre-planned. We need to minority report him for this.
Yeah. But anyway,
but it's already happened.
I knew it was going to happen, and so I was going to try to find one. But I couldn't find any actual eye patches, so I just went the next best way and got construction paper and string. And I think it looks great.
Ladies and gentlemen, both for audio and video listeners here, I just want to tell you, I sat here during dinner and watched Dickey.
There were no scissors.
Cut the eye patch out.
I had to use a butter knife.
He cut the eye patch out with a butter knife, then proceeded to use. Well, at first he tried a crayon, but that didn't work. A pen to punch out holes for the yarn. I don't even know how he cut the yarn. How did you cut the yarn? With the butter knife?
With the butter knife. If you don't have scissors, I recommend using a butter knife. It works great. You usually have to use a little leverage to just like get in there and but it works. Okay, so Kung Fu Panda.
Just kind of like audio listeners. Have you ever seen someone like stab a pumpkin when they're carving and they're like getting real into it, and you need to?
Do you imagine the pumpkin for that?
Well, you just gotta get into it. Like it's not gonna cut easily. It's a butter knife.
You imagined a pumpkin for that?
What else do you want me to imagine?
No. That's actually a really good way to put it. It's like you gotta crouch on top of the pumpkin, gotta get into like your good position. Just go for it.
Kung Fu Panda.
Everybody, I just got to say one last thing about this. We can no longer give Dickey sharp or dull objects.
I will find a way to cut.
We just can't give him anything.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yes. Any other thoughts about Kung Fu Panda? I think we covered it all.
I think
we did. Personally, it's in my top 5 DreamWorks.
I don't want to cut it with a butter knife because I really enjoy it. I really do.
Wow. That's a quote. I don't want to cut it with a butter knife.
I'll cut Jerry with a butter knife, but not the movie.
Kung Fu Panda. What were you saying?
I think that as far as trilogy goes, DreamWorks does trilogies very well, with a couple exceptions. But
they're good at sequels.
They're good at sequels. Maybe not the third one. They're not so great at sticking the landing.
Leave that as sequels. I think that's a better way to go. But yeah, all right.
Kung Fu Panda.
Ha-cha. Ka-chow. Oh no.
Ka-chow.
No, not ka-chow.
Nope, we're stopping right there. No Cars. No.
Please don't make me watch Cars again.
Wow.
So yeah. That was the 16th episode of That Works! A DreamWorks podcast. Kung Fu Panda. Really good. We'll see where it falls at the end of this whole thing.
I'm curious to see where it falls. I really am going to be curious to see where this is going to rank.
Yeah. You want to give the social shout out?
Oh, of course. Yes. Do not forget to like and subscribe and follow us on all the good socials we are on. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the good stuff. All Slate Media. Find us. We're always posting fun stuff.
We're also on Spotify.
On Spotify, yes.
So don't forget Google Podcasts.
And Google Podcasts, and currently working on Apple Podcasts, but it's a pain in the butt to get stuff
right
on.
now, though, where this is like 9 episodes
Actually,
after,
by
it's
the
probably
time
going to go up.
It should be on Apple Podcasts,
ahead of time, so hopefully we're on a lot more.
I would hope so.
We just forget to shout out things at the end of videos for the first 10. What are we?
We're not doing this very good. We gotta get this together. Yeah, give us a follow. I hope you.
But yes, next movie. Next movie is going to be Madagascar Escape to Africa. Came out the same year. Again, while Madagascar might not be the best of their franchises, they did improve that with the sequel. We'll talk about it next time. So
that's next time.
That's it. Off Slate Media. We'll see you next time.
Adios, amigos.
Somebody stop me.
Wait, what?
The mask. Somebody stop.
Okay, that's not what I thought you said.
Hi, my name's Dickey.
ha ha.